Yeah, well, Lurker, fuck it. Alright. So this last one is Mark Rober. Uh she teamed up with either Scam Vader or Jim Browning, I believe, on this. And they basically did a glitter bomb on they did one of their glitter bomb stuff on an Indian scam call center. So this is one of the few times where the scam call centers got their comeuppance. So for a final video, let's see some scammers get their asses kicked. Shall we, Shall we, chat?
I had 100 cockroaches here, and I placed them in this James Bond-style contraption that turns this ball screw and forces them out after a specified time delay. And then I put it in a lunchbox for camouflage, and then I released them in this office. Now you might think, that's not very nice, Mark. Some people are afraid of cockroaches. Trust me, I know. And that's exactly the point, because this isn't just any office. This is ground zero for one of those terrible call centers that scams people of their life savings. A year ago when I released this video about inadvertently stumbling onto the low-level thugs in this international scam operation, I said we were gonna glitter bomb our way all the way to the top, even if it meant taking this fight to the other side of the globe. And so after a year and a half of planning, we infiltrated not one, not two, not three, but 4 different scam call centers. We released
Fuck yes. Let's fucking go.
cockroaches, smoke bombs, stink bombs, glitter bombs, and then of course we hacked their CCTV so we could watch the whole thing unfold in real time. So buckle up, because this is the wild conclusion to this multinational adventure, and please watch to the end because there's something you can actually do to help put the nail in the coffin of these 4 massive call centers. Now why would we go after this $20 billion scam industry? Well, we're doing it for the 60 million people who've lost money to scammers in the past year. But more specifically, we're doing it for Bessie, who you might recall from my previous video when I detailed exactly how one of these scams work.
You're like my granny, Miss Bessie. Do you know this?
Hey!
Yes.
Yeah, so see, this is where he's fucking with the code. Where he's fucking with the elements to make it look like she's got more money than she actually does. And like to pretend like they sent her more money than they should have. So this is what I was talking about earlier.
She was like one of my closest friends.
Oh.
I used to share each and everything with her.
Basically, it starts with an email or a spam call, then they pretend to be Amazon or Microsoft, and they tell the victim they've been charged $200 for something, but if you call back, you could dispute the charge. Then after they call, they eventually get on the victim's computer and importantly, have the victim type the $200 refund amount into a bogus form.
Please enter your refund amount.
Only they take over and secretly type the amount of $20,000.
I think you're thinking of Scam Baiter where he gets them rated. You're thinking of the Scam Baiter one where he gets them rated. I've already seen that one. It's either Scam Baiter or Jim Browning, but I've seen that one.
And then they hit enter real quick.
Check everything. Is it correct?
Oh no, this is a mistake. Oh, I screwed up.
Oh, did he?
Jesus.
It was supposed
Let
to be.
me back this up so you can see how he played fuck around. Alright, well, watch this, because don't forget, he's connected to her computer right now. So he's connected to her computer. Watch the digits here.
Your refund amount.
Only they take over and secretly type the amount of 20.
Yeah, so she typed 200, and then before she hits enter, he quickly types in 2 zeros to make it seem like she typed 20,000. Because don't forget, he's connected and he has access to her computer right now. And why not just put 2 of what, Jake? So that's how he tricks up.
$20,000, and then they hit enter real quick.
Check everything. Is it correct?
Oh no, this is a mistake. Oh, I screwed up.
Oh, Jesus.
It was supposed to be a 200 in there.
Well, Jake, because by putting $2 in there, it'll be more obvious that if they just put in 2, and then the scammer types in 4 zeros really quickly, it's going to be very obvious, especially because the victim wouldn't have typed any zeros. They would say, I didn't hit a 0. I didn't do anything. But here, he tacked on 2 extra zeros, So the scammer is making the victim think, oh, I hit extra zeros by mistake. And it's much more plausible because they require the victim's cooperation. If the victim does not cooperate with the scam, they don't get shit. So the key is they have to trick them into thinking, oh, they actually did screw up. And that's what leads it into the scam.
Oh, God almighty. I'm exhausted. I can't do this. My mind is
Ma'am, please
absolutely
check your
fried.
account. Please check your.
And I mean, take note of the age of this woman. This is their target demographic. Elderly people like this who don't know how to use a computer.
Account. Did you really receive that money in your account?
Then they take her to a totally fake, spoofed bank account page where it looks like because of Bessie's mistake, they just sent her $20,000 instead of $200.
Oh my God! Plus 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they did is this is a demo page, typically, although they've removed the demo part from the top, and they inspected and changed. They basically added this shit in. So they added this in via the inspect. They were taught how to add in an element, and so they added in this element to look like they got received 20,000. I mean, Nia, these are old people. So that's what they're counting on, is they wouldn't do that.
Please save my job, ma'am. If I'll not earn for my family will die due to hunger,
And
due
this
to
is also what
starvation.
they
Oh,
do.
please,
Yes,
ma'am,
of
please
course.
don't
I mean,
cry. Please
what
don't
should
cry,
I
ma'am.
do? I
I'm
mean, I
really
can,
feeling bad for you. You are also like my grandmother.
you know, I'm an honest
You are
person.
making me cry now.
Thank you,
You're
Acid.
making me cry now. I'm getting attached to you.
Now, how do I fix this?
And now you can see how he's weaponized her empathy. Now to fix her mistake, how she'd be willing to go to the bank and withdraw what she thinks is an extra $20,000 in cash, when in reality, it's $20,000 of her hard-earned savings. And she's gonna send it in the mail to a heartless scammer. Now in case you think they've gotten a lot nicer over the
Yeah, and this is what this pissed me off so much, and why I stopped watching a lot of these scam shows, is because they never get justice. So many of them never get justice, and it pisses me off so vehement that they don't get justice for these people.
The manipulation these soulless trash bags commit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is. And when they get busted, they go into a big old sob story about how they go into a big old sob story, but you hear them on the phone and they're manipulative as fuck. It's disgusting.
last year, here's another call from a few weeks ago where the scam is to pretend they're from the government and there's some missing taxes that are owed.
I just retired, as I say, last February, and then I was diagnosed with breast cancer in August. So my retirement hasn't been very good so far. And after today, I know it's not your fault, but it's worse now.
Oh, I'm
But as
so
I say,
sorry
I
to
would
hear that.
rather just pay it. Otherwise, I'll be worrying about it, and I'll be worse in my health. You know what I mean? Or even if I have to pay it in two halves.
So the scammer places her on hold to talk with the authorities and to see if there's just something that can be done to help her out.
Thank you so much for holding the line, ma'am. I just had a word with the Har authorities, and I informed them about your situation, and they are also concerned about your health.
So concerned, in fact, she'll only have to send these scammers $2,000.
Actual amount found out missing in the taxes is 1,489.
Now last year's operation was effective in getting a handful of people involved in this scam not only covered in glitter, but also arrested. But the
And the worst part is, Shadow, is they're operating in India, and the police in India are completely corrupt. So even if they do get busted, they're out that day, they're back at work a week later. That's the worst part about it.
The problem was, we discovered these were just the low-level mules and supervisors who would then send the bulk of the money back to the actual scammers in India. And while we did turn over all the intel we gathered to the 5 major government agencies that reached out to us to truly avenge Bessie, our goal was to take our glitter all the way to the top and either temporarily disrupt or possibly even permanently shut down a few of these terrible call centers. It'd be like a special operation, and every special operation needs a special ops team, a target, and a plan. For the team, I turn back to my good friend Jim Browning, who—
Okay, it was Jim Browning who was in on this. Yes! Yeah, Jim Browning is the fucking goat with these scam baiting stuff. He is the one I think that started it all. This man is the goat.
you recall from last year, has a YouTube channel that specializes in reversing the connection to the scammers' computers and gaining access to their CCTV footage.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, I want to know why you scam people.
And then another YouTube channel called Trilogy Media would be the boots on the ground in India implementing the pranks, but more on them later. For the target, together we were able to locate and gather tons of incriminating information on 4 different scam call centers.
Yeah, Volt, I do vaguely remember. It was a Jason Statham movie. I do vaguely remember hearing about it. Yes. Yeah, and Mia, you're right, they have been. It's just the problem is that scammers don't get punished when they get caught. So they'll never stop.
For starters, there's Met Technologies, located in Kolkata, India, on the 5th floor of this building. They've been in operation over 12 years, and they've got over 1,000 agents. Their owner is Mr. Kunal Gupta, and you can even see the rest of their leadership team here on their public website. And you might ask, well,
Holy shit, Spartan. 100 grand. Wow, that's nuts. Holy shit. And she's never gonna get the money back either. That fucking sucks.
why would a scam call center have a public website? And the answer is they all do, because they have a very small percentage of their employees do legitimate call center work. So if they get raided by the authorities, they can point to that small group and say their hands are clean, while the real money-making operation runs here behind a secure door. Then we found VRM, also located in Kolkata, on the 12th floor of this building. They also have over 1,000 agents, and they've been in operation for 6 years, and they run 24 hours a day in 3 shifts to target people in time zones all across the globe. Oh, and allow me to introduce to the world Rajesh and Vidya Goenka, the husband and wife co-owners. Next was Anj Info Solutions on the 5th floor of this building. They also run 3 shifts, 24 hours a day, and they've been up and running for 11 years with all their—
Yeah, and you notice a commonality. They're all in Kolkata, India. Kolkata, I think, is like the scam hub of the world.
key info shown here. They're located just a block away from VRM. In fact, all 3 of these centers were located within just a few miles of each other here in Kolkata, India, which is a hot spot for scam call centers like this. And finally, there was one more we located, but we're not releasing public information on them yet, and you'll see why in just a little bit. And so once we'd amassed mountains of evidence against all 4 of them thanks to Jim's handiwork, we hired 10 private investigator types to apply for jobs at each of these centers, and after a few weeks, we had them all in place. Now, in order for them not to arouse suspicion, they had to legitimately scam some people, but we told them to remember the victim's information, and then we would reach out and double any money that was lost. And at first, one of our agents in the VRM call center—
That's fucking nice. That's the first time that I can remember hearing where some of these like scam baiter type groups where like they not only help the victim, but they hang on a second. Oh shit. That they like help the victim and give them double their money back after they've been scammed. That's fucking great. Oh. Sorry, I kind of started to tear up a little bit at the idea of that.
Center went against protocol and used his phone to capture some footage for us of the bathrooms and the server rack and whatever this is, but they must have seen him filming with his phone on their CCTV because the next day, some of the security team showed up at his house. Now luckily, his roommate knew to lie and say he wasn't home, and he was able to escape through the back alley, but they stayed out in front of his house all day and later sent this message saying the director wanted to
Hey, blank, we heard about your whereabouts from blank to make a deal with you. The MD of Copy would like to have a word with you. He has come down right now. The payment will be handsome. And there's nothing to be worried about or scared about. Come to the office and make a gentleman's leave. No worries. And we'll make the deal right away. By the way, can I have a glimpse of the proof that you have against us? Oh, now it's time to run. Now it's fucking time to run. Yeah, this is when you run because chances are you may not make it out alive. Yeah.
to speak with him, and they would pay him handsomely, and of course, he didn't need to be scared. They were just simply curious what kind of evidence he'd gathered against them already. So from that point on, we reiterated to the remaining 9 to lay really low like a sleeper cell until we were ready to activate the plan. And speaking of the plan, now that we saw what we were up against, we knew we'd have to go full James Bond Q mode with some high-tech gadgetry that could make it past security. Which is why this first prank is just a water bottle. Kind of. I mean, it can function as a normal water bottle, but if you unscrew just this portion of the lid, it reveals a trough. And if you put military-grade putrid smelling stuff in that trough and then screw the lid back on fully, it creates a perfect seal and you can't smell anything. But then at the exact precise moment you want to release a cloud of death, you just twist the lid like this, allowing the smell to escape through these holes and fill the room. And we're using a water bottle because from looking at the CCTV footage, we know they allow them to have water bottles at their desks, so they'll be able to sneak them past security. Plus, no one's going to suspect that's the origin of the smell. Next up, if you take some hand soap and add just a few drops of the same kitchen-grade food coloring we used on the Devil's Toothpaste explosion, then when you wash your hands, it will leave them stained for at least a day. Oh crap. We'll leave this in the bathroom, and as a bonus, we'll learn exactly who does and doesn't wash their hands. This next one is the most simple, but also perhaps the most effective. You take a box of Sudafed and then print out and paste on some of these labels and convert it to a box of Viagra. Then importantly, you add the name of the boss of the scam call center to the box, like it's his prescription. And then you leave it in the bathroom next to your blue soap. Next up is that custom-built box that can store cockroaches in it. So after a predetermined time delay, the microcontroller will trigger the stepper motor, which causes the wall to slide along this ball screw. That means if you disguise it in a lunchbox, then nothing happens until the timer expires. And then suddenly, you get a bunch of cockroaches crawling out of a lunchbox. Although you can put more than just cockroaches in here. And some other ideas we had were bees, because we heard India has some species that don't actually sting, as well as possibly rats, because we already knew from looking at their security footage that once
Those were rats, those were mice. There's a difference.
released, the rats can make themselves right at home. And using a lunchbox for camouflage is once again a strategic choice, because we already knew from our recon work, they always make it past security because no one actually checks what's inside. Next up, I love the idea of the chaos that could result if we set off a smoke bomb, but we were concerned that might be crossing a line if the room was too small, because like the glitter bombs, I want everything I do to be exciting, but at the end of the day, relatively harmless. So instead, we found these micro foggers that are basically like massive vape pens. And we also noticed motorcycle helmets were allowed onto the floor and past security. So the plan was to put it inside a helmet like this, and then it would also detonate itself based on a timer. And finally, as the pièce de résistance, we're gonna deliver them a package. Only this isn't an ordinary package. It's Glitter Bomb 4.0, which of
Yo, baby. Glitter bomb time.
course, as we all know, is equipped with a pound of the world's finest glitter and an uncharitable amount of fart spray.
I still smell it.
It's the Kevin McAllister, ladies and gentlemen. It's Macaulay Culkin.
And so now that our team, target, and plan were in place, after 1.5 years of prep work, it was time to avenge Bessie and execute the
Holy shit! They did a year of prep work on this. Wow. I'm gonna admit, I find myself wondering if it's worth it for the 1 year just for these small pranks. Because it may or may not shut down the call center. And I understand this is his shtick, where it's realistically supposed to be harmless, but these are scammers. These should be shut the fuck down. And Psycha, You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, 6, I know. They'll actually raid them, like in one of the other ones. They actually do. One of the other Jim Browning videos, they actually do raid them, but not this one.
Special operation. Step 1 was getting the Trilogy Media guys all the way over to India with all the contraptions stored securely in their luggage.
My guys stepping foot on Indian soil.
Now safely on the ground, step 2 was to go pick up those stingless bees that we could put in the lunchbox. But once they'd arrived to the beekeeper, they found out you can't just take a few bees, but you have to take the whole hive.
In the car, dude, no. They're gonna get out.
I'm not afraid.
Also, apparently, there's no such thing as stingless bees.
Oh my god. Oh,
So we punted on that idea and headed to an open air market where we could at least secure some rats. By the way, the Trilogy Media YouTube channel is composed of Ashton, who's a former magician, and Art, who played professional basketball in Russia for 8 years. They're just an incredible duo. And speaking of incredible things, this is a good time to point out that the real people of India were just so freaking lovely. It's true that nearly every scam call you get originates from that country, but everyone in India hates these scammers too. They are a tiny, tiny fraction of the total population, and no one wants to be defined by the worst in their midst. Most people we interacted with.
Yeah, Shadow. You want to scare them? Give them some New York rats. They'll eat the fucking computers for us. Send them some New York rats so they'll just eat their computers.
There had hearts more like Johnny, who's an honorary member of the team and a reformed scammer who's made it his life's mission to do whatever he can to take these guys down, even if that means working some back channels to get our hands on 100 cockroaches.
all right, let's go.
So with the goods procured, it was time to meet up with our sleeper agents at the hotel to do some final prep on the contraptions, which went about as well as expected.
6. You just have to be a rat whisperer. You have to know how to talk to the rats. And Washan, thank you for the follow. Let's go.
Seriously though, are we gonna test it right here? Right here?
Yeah.
You can't do it in the bathroom?
16, 17.
Yeah, no, get him in, get him in. Oh, yeah, yeah. More than marriage.
Oh,
I
God.
see.
Okay, okay.
Stop.
I've handled rats before. Rats are actually pretty calm. I have handled rats before. And I think rats are not dirty like you think. Rats are actually very fastidiously clean. They are constantly cleaning themselves. They're not, they get a bad rap. Very cute, Washington. Very cute.
No, God! Drop someone. No, please, 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 please. Okay, pause. Pause. Accounted for, right? Everyone?
I swear, I would not let you down.
We decided the first call center we'd hit would be Anj, and we were feeling optimistic about our chances. And that's exactly when our special operation received its first major blow. So apparently there's this WhatsApp group that 55,000 scammers all across India belong to, so the different scam call centers can communicate with each other. And because Johnny was still a member of this group from his former days, he saw this message pop up. 2 of us in the town of Kolkata.
Guys, it's a very, very important message. We are having that 2 of us in the town Kolkata has seen Trilogy blank people. There was 2 Indians with them also, and they were shooting movie or anything we don't know. Oh boy. And Kurakuda, thank you for the follow.
Have seen cuss word Trilogy people. We followed them, but the driver drove the car very fast to the Salt Lake side. There was 2 Indians with them and they were shooting a movie. So apparently some scammers had recognized Art and Ashton at the market as the Trilogy Media YouTube guys, because they've confronted a lot of scammers in their 5 years of making videos. Now thankfully, just out of habit, Johnny was driving in a way that would make it hard for anyone to tail them, but they still were able to pinpoint their hotel location within about a half a mile. But then it got much worse. Might be they are working working with the FBI, so I request all of our brothers to have an eye in Salt Lake. So whenever you see them, you shoot them. Which was super devastating because it seemed pretty clear to me that we'd have to scrap the whole operation because while the mission was important, it definitely wasn't worth anyone getting hurt. But when I brought this up to the guys, they'd...
Yeah, I mean, that's the scary part. Like, these scammers, they will fucking kill you. That's why when they got that message, oh, come on, we'll pay you out and you can leave. Fuck no, they were gonna stick a knife in his chest. Like, these scammers will fucking kill you. So it's not just they're scamming people. They'll, they will actually, they will try and take your life. So it's not just financial crimes either.
They'd already discussed it amongst themselves and decided this was a cause they were passionate about that they were willing to accept some risks. So we decided moving forward, Art and Ashton wouldn't step a foot outside their hotel room, and that's when the second major blow came. Because apparently the group text warning spooked the call scam center so much, they just changed up everyone's assignments, and they were planning on moving all 3 of our sleeper agents to a new floor where there was no CCTV coverage. But this is where we had a stroke of luck, because at the last minute, Johnny thought to have another one of his reformed scammer friends apply for a job. And because he had so much experience on his resume, they hired him on the spot and gave him a more...
I mean, Doc, here's the thing. They wouldn't be so open with it like this. I'm not going to mention a certain aeronautics and space industry that has currently been in the news, but they're not open about it. Like, these guys, they went on this freaking WhatsApp bulletin board post and said we should shoot him. Little different, but that's because look at their location. The cops wouldn't do anything about it. They've got the cops on the payroll.
more highly trusted role, which meant he could be the one to smuggle in all our gadgets. And so with that, he loaded up, headed in for battle, and an hour later, we had a man on the inside. And by the way, now that we're inside, I'll give you a very quick crash course on what we've learned about how these scam centers operate after watching them for so long. First of all, 90% of the victims are 65 years old or above.
I don't understand that. I don't understand all of this.
They really only make calls during the US working day hours and not on the weekends, because that maximizes their chance the person who picks up will be retired. This is why you never get scam calls on Sunday. They don't have anyone even working the phones. In fact, many of them have an auto dial prompt that says press 1 if you're over 65 years old, and if you press anything else, it just hangs up. The most common scam is the Amazon refund scam, but they also pretend to be Microsoft, McAfee, Norton Antivirus, the IRS, and your bank, and on and on. It's always changing, but it's also always something you've heard of to try and build trust right out of the gate.
Yeah, one of the most common ones I've heard of is the malware attack, the malvertising attack, where I had a lot of people bring me in their computers where they would be using the computer, they'd be going to websites, whatever, and all of a sudden they'd get that pop-up saying, warning, Windows has been infected by a virus, call this phone number. It gives this really loud and annoying tone over and over again. You can't turn it off, you can't do anything, you can't click it off or nothing like that. That's one of the worst offenders, because they'll call it because their computer is literally screaming at them. So these old people don't know how to use a computer are instantly on the phone calling, like, my computer's screaming at me, holy shit, what's going on with my phone? And thus scam happens. That's one of the things I always tried to warn anybody that bought a computer about. It's like, if this happens, just turn the computer off. Hold the power button down until the computer turns off. You're fine. But that's how they get them.
If you want to know how much they make, well, that information unfortunately is
Okay, well, thanks for stopping by.
securely held on the boss's computer, so we can't get to it. Although, I suppose if you had access to the internal cameras, you could just watch the boss type his password, and then you'd be able to access their master tracking spreadsheets, which is what we did, and how we know these large call centers make $60,000 per day. That's $18 million a year. An opener will take the initial calls, and they make an average of $7,000 a month. Then if they keep the victim on the phone long enough, they hand it over to a closer, and they make on average $15,000 a month. They never say the word scam or victim, instead refer referring to them as sales and customers. That way they just seem more like a normal office.
Yep.
Although what I think does that job more convincingly are all the walls plastered with inspirational corporate words like synergy or management or process. So that's your crash course on how they operate. And the FTC has put out a list of 4 signs to help spot a scam and 4 things you can do to protect against them. And I'll link to it in the video description.
And unfortunately, old people don't go on the FTC's website. That's why people on the front lines, like me when I was at my last job, take it upon ourselves to try and educate people very simplistically on how not to get scammed. So,
And so now, without further ado, we kicked things off with the stink bomb water bottle. And while that was marinating, he went to the bathroom and dropped off the hand soap and the special medication with the boss's name written on the front. And it didn't take long for us to get our first hit on the smell. What was great though is they all kind of covered their noses subtly in silence so the people next to them wouldn't feel accused. Well, for the most part. Then a few minutes later, we had our first bathroom customer who clearly doesn't wash her hands after using the restroom. But then we had a second chance with an apparently more hygienic scammer, and this time we struck pay dirt as he comes out trying to figure out what the heck just happened. And 5 minutes later, you can see him still trying to work it out. And not long after that, we got our first mention of the special package in the bathroom. The audio cut out here, but our agent told us they were laughing and wondering how the boss could possibly leave that lying around. Although it certainly doesn't feel too far off brand, given he uses this as his profile pic on Facebook.
oh my. And no, I'm not using my soundboard. He's seen one too many Bollywood movies. Yep.
Facebook. And at this point, our agent placed and then triggered the time delay countdown on the cockroach, rat, and smoke bomb traps so he can now safely make his getaway.
Oh. You okay? Yeah. You safe? Yeah. I thought they were just following me.
And since they, of course, have no idea what's about to happen, they're still just casually talking about the bathroom. And then a few moments later, the first boxes must have triggered because this guy notices a cockroach and nopes his way out of there. And then he's quickly followed by the second dude. And I love it because now you just randomly see cockroaches start coming in frame. And so now that they know what they're up against, they call in the reinforcements with a mop. But it looks like he missed one. Or 2. Or 3. Actually 4. Scratch that. 5. And then as if perfectly on cue, right as the mop guy finishes his cleanup, the smoke begins. And this causes quite a commotion and draws quite a crowd, and it takes them a while, but they're eventually able to pinpoint the source of the smoke and gingerly take it off the premises. Followed soon thereafter by our rat friends. And this is possibly my favorite clip of the whole night, where you see a cockroach lead the way and wander all around as they argue and try and make sense of what in the world is possibly happening. And by this point you can tell the boss is pretty sure they're under attack, but just to remove any sense of doubt, we sent them one final package. And they almost...
This is the one I was waiting for because those other ones, kind of lightweight, honestly. They were a bit lightweight in nature. This is the one I was waiting for.
Opened it right there, but I guess with everything else that had already happened so far that night, they took it downstairs. And then this happened.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Yeah, in fact there's 4 of them, and they're uploading this footage to the cloud.
कुछ नहीं है ब्लास्ट हुआ है और
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Activation complete. Recovery sequence initiated.
Oh, he actually leaned down into the fart spray. Oh, yeah, I know, 6. Yeah, this is originally for those kind of guys.
अबे काउंटिंग हो रहा है बदबू आ रहा है बदबू आ रहा है
So after our incredibly successful special operation, we waited to see what the response would be. And we didn't have to wait long. Yesterday, those cuss words sent Anch Solutions a package bomb, and it exploded, and there was a bad smell and sprinkler water or whatever it was. These guys are playing good with us. I am reminding you guys, they must be in between us. We don't even know. And now we had them, because they were paranoid and they didn't know which of their employees might have been compromised. Check the lunch boxes, pocket bags, shoes, ladies' purse as well. Even check the water, whether there's some color mixed in it. I assume he's referring to the soap dye here. But be cautious, guys, seriously. They came to bad word all of us, and they are still trying to bust us. After that, there were a few more death threats, so we didn't think it was safe enough to launch our attacks on the other 3 centers to try and get them shut down. But the beautiful thing is, we didn't have to. Big centers in Kolkata and Delhi are closed from today, as well as Monday, as per the information I got from all my friends. We had created enough confusion and mass panic that not only did the other 3 centers get shut down, but we got all the large scam centers all across India shut down for a few days too. And if you add it up, that means those tiny cockroaches stopped $2 million from going from the victims to the scumbags. And I would say that's the perfect ending, but it actually gets even a little better. Once Ashton and Art were safely back home on American soil, they decided to troll that text group with those 55,000 scammers by uploading this gem to the chat.
Surprise, surprise, scammers! Art and Ashton over here.
No matter how many numbers you remove from this group, we're still watching. Not only that, we've also downloaded every single person's contact information, all 57,000 of them inside this group. We have every single one of his contact information. We're submitting it to the FBI in the United States and the CBI here in India, so you guys better run and you better watch out.
And so if you want to see how...
Now that is effective. That's how you fuck with them, is by doing that.
Quickly the scammers started removing themselves from the chat group, as well as a lot more details of all their work on the ground over in India. You should go check out their video. And not surprisingly, Anch and the other scam call centers eventually opened back up, albeit this time with much tighter security. But they still didn't, and still don't realize probably till this moment, that we have access to their live camera feeds. So Jim improvised a bit, calling them out by their real names without giving away the fact he was just looking at them on the camera.
Yeah, hi sir, my name is Carolina Fernandez. I am calling you from the Microsoft.
Oh, hi Priya.
Let us see this again. I love Jim. I fucking love Jim Browning. He is a god in this.
Soft.
Oh, hi Priya. Hi.
Who are you?
I'm a ghost.
Idiot.
Yeah, I don't
Do
know
you know
what...
my father's name?
I don't know, but is your father proud of you, what you do? Does he think you work for Microsoft?
Yes, of course.
But you don't work for Microsoft. Did you tell him that? Will I tell you one more name?
Yes.
Sohini. At least talk to me. Hello?
He also managed to change the way their voices sound when they would do outbound calls to their potential victims.
Who are you? May I know who I speak with? Who are you?
You're speaking very strangely. What's up?
So to see a lot more of that quality entertainment, you should go check out his video. So after all that, we're sort of in a good news, bad news situation here. The good news is that because of some developments we've been involved in, the 4th center here is going to be raided by the authorities in India and shut down very, very soon. The bad news is that these other 3 are still very operational. And for reasons I can't say here, we don't have the same option to get them shut down like we do on the 4th one. Now you might ask, why not just privately reach out to the proper authorities in Kolkata where these 3 call centers are located? And the answer is, that's been tried before and it didn't work. While there are many good apples, there are a few bad apples that prevent anything.
And I am afraid it's going to be the reverse. There's a few good apples and many bad apples. That is the unfortunate truth of the matter. And Madham, thank you for the follow.
From happening to these guys. So where does that leave us? Well, as they say, sunshine is a great disinfectant, and here's where you come in. We've invested a lot of resources and time and tried to make this video as entertaining as possible in the hopes that you'll consider sharing it for 2 reasons. Number 1, the more people are aware of how these scams work, the less effective they become and they lose their power. So please share it, especially with your older loved ones. And number 2, the more people that see—
Madham, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate it.
see this video and learn about these 3 specific
know
call
why it didn't
centers, the
alert.
more the
It's
press will
been
pick it up, especially in
lately.
India. Heck, tweet our videos to the Kolkata police. This helps out the good apples because the bad ones can't just sweep all the evidence under the rug or quietly tip off the scam center bosses. The press and public can hold them accountable. We've seen this tactic work successfully in the past, and we have mountains of evidence against all these scam centers. If you are with the press or a law enforcement agency, send us an email to callcenterevidencepack@gmail.com and we'll share everything we have with you. If you combine them, these 3 centers have been in operation an astounding 29 years, and they're still scamming people of their life savings to this day, even right now as we release this video. So let's see what we can do. And depending on exactly what happens, I'll either post a follow-up video here on my YouTube channel or on my other social channels, so subscribe and all that stuff if you want to stay in the loop. Glitter bombs and cockroaches are just harmless entertainment, but our best chance of working together to shut these guys down for good is by shining a light to foster some accountability. Thanks for your help. Now let's make Bessie proud.
Yeah, Shadow. Yeah, Shadow,
I want to thank
unfortunately you're right.
NordVPN for their support on this video. I've been using their service myself for over 3 years now because they really are the best at this. With Nord, you can surf the web anonymously, your location stays private, and your data is encrypted. Because even though
I'll let it play through, but I'm gonna mute it so I can talk. Yeah, I mean, Shadowclaw, I can't condone it, but you're not wrong. Unfortunately, you're not wrong. It is, you know, this is such a huge business. That's how they're paying the cops off, is because this is a huge business. And when they're operating in a country like that, the cops can easily get paid off. Well, unfortunately, you can rest assured that they're not going to be able to shut them. They're not going to shut them down. They are like the cockroaches in this video. They will never go away. You can never kill them. Unfortunately, scamming is big fucking business. It is big fucking business. And it's never going to go away.